Welcome back to Podcast for Artists. Today, we're going to be talking about street art sales. It's a way to kind of braid free from that traditional gallery scene,
Yeah.
and really connect directly with people who love art.
Yeah. It's really interesting how street art is really changing the way that people experience and buy art. It's making art accessible to everyone,
Yeah.
not just the people who frequent galleries or,
Right.
those kinds of things.
It's like bringing the art to the people you know.
Yeah, exactly.
You're walking down the street and all of a sudden, you stumble upon a piece and it just speaks to you. And then on top of that, you can actually chat with the artist right there.
Right.
Find out what the story is behind the work, and you can even purchase it right there.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's really special about street art. That direct connection with the artist. Buyers love being able to hear about the creative process, the inspiration behind the art. And for artists, that immediate feedback is invaluable.
So for artists who are listening, and they're intrigued by this whole street art scene, what would be the first step?
Well, I would definitely recommend immersing yourself in the street art culture. Explore your city's art districts. Go to street art festivals. Talk to artists who are already selling their work on the street.
So it's like doing your market research, but in a much more vibrant and hands-on way.
Exactly. Yeah, you'll get a feel for the different styles. You'll get a sense of what resonates with buyers and what kind of art might thrive in different locations.
Okay, so like for instance,
Yeah.
if someone's work has like a whimsical, illustrative style, they might consider setting up shop, near a park
Right.
or a children's museum or something.
Exactly. It's all about, you wouldn't necessarily sell abstract metal sculptures
Yeah.
in a busy shopping district, but maybe near an art gallery. Or a design studio would be a better fit.
It's all about finding that sweet spot where your art kind of aligns
Yeah.
with the vibe of the location and the interest of the people that are there.
Absolutely.
And speaking of location, that's absolutely crucial for street art sales, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And you want to be where the people are.
Yeah, you want foot traffic. You want visibility. You want a connection to your target audience. It's all about being seen and making those connections.
So like bustling pedestrian streets,
Yeah.
markets, festivals,
Yeah.
areas near tourist attractions, even maybe close to art supply stores
Oh, yeah, good point.
where art enthusiasts are probably going to be.
Exactly.
So you found the perfect location. You've got your art all displayed beautifully. Now let's talk about the rewards of this whole street art experience. Because it's not just about making those sales, is it?
No, definitely not. It's about building relationships. It's about having meaningful conversations about your art. It's about getting real-time feedback from buyers. There's an energy and excitement that's really unique to the street art scene.
I bet it's incredibly rewarding to see someone connect with your art right there in that moment
Oh, it's incredible.
and to hear their personal interpretation of it.
It's truly special. And you also have, the flexibility and freedom that comes with street art sales. You're your own boss. You set your own hours. You choose your location.
That's a huge plus, especially for artists who, crave that autonomy and control over their business. And of course, you can't forget about the lower overhead costs compared to, renting a gallery space.
That's right. Street art sales can be a more accessible entry point for emerging artists who are just starting to build their careers.
This all sounds amazing, but I think we also have to be realistic. There are probably some challenges involved in selling your art on the streets.
Of course, every venture has its hurdles. With street art sales, I'd say one of the biggest challenges is dealing with the unpredictable weather conditions. Rain, wind, scorching sun, it can all really have an impact on your setup, your art, your potential sales.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't really even think about that. So what are some things that artists can do to weatherproof their, street art setup?
Well, investing in a sturdy, weather-resistant display is essential. A good quality tent or canopy can be a lifesaver. You also want to consider, the materials that you're using for your art. Are they durable enough to kind of withstand the elements?
Right. It's like, choosing the right paint for an outdoor mural. You need something that can stand up to the sun and the rain.
Exactly. And if you're working with delicate pieces like watercolors, you might want to consider framing them with protective glass, or maybe even choosing a different medium for your street art.
Okay, so weather aside, what about the legal side of things? Like permits and licenses? It can all seem a bit daunting.
Yeah, you're right. Navigating the legalities is crucial. Every city has its own rules and regulations regarding street vending, and that includes, specific restrictions for selling art.
So how do artists even begin to figure all of that out?
The best place to start is your local government website. Look for information on vendor permits, business licenses, and any specific regulations for selling art in public spaces.
It's better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to risk getting fined or having your setup shut down.
Absolutely. And don't hesitate to contact your city or county directly if you have questions. They're usually happy to guide you through the process.
Okay, so we've got weather, we've got legalities. What other challenges should artists be prepared for when it comes to street art sales?
Well, one thing to keep in mind is that income can be inconsistent. Some days you might sell multiple pieces, and other days you might not sell anything at all.
That's the nature of the business, right?
Right.
I mean, that's true for a lot of entrepreneurial ventures.
Exactly. It's kind of all about, finding those rhythms, riding the waves. So it's essential to have a financial buffer. And maybe even explore other income streams to supplement your street art sales.
Right, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify your income, whether it's through commissions or online sales, teaching art workshops even.
Yeah, those are all great options. It's about building a sustainable art business that can kind of weather those ups and downs.
So you're saying that selling art on the street really takes resilience, adaptability, good business sense.
It does, but the rewards can be incredible. And remember, you're not just selling art, you're creating an experience for people.
Okay, so let's talk about that experience. How do you actually make those sales happen on the street? You've got your art beautifully displayed, people are walking by. How do you turn those passers-by into buyers?
It's all about mastering the art of street salesmanship. You need to understand the flow of the street, observe the crowd, adapt your approach based on the energy that you're sensing.
So it's like reading the room, but in an outdoor setting.
Exactly. Some days people might be in a browsing mood. Other days they might be looking for something specific. It's about tuning into those subtle cues.
So let's say someone stops to admire your work. What's the next step?
Be approachable, be genuine, be passionate about your art. Share the stories behind your pieces, the inspiration that fueled them. People love connecting with the artist, understanding that creative process.
I bet those personal stories add like a whole new dimension to the art itself.
They absolutely do. And don't be afraid to ask questions, engage in conversation, build those connections. People buy from people they like and trust.
That's true in any business, really, but especially I think when it comes to art, which is so personal and emotionally driven.
Absolutely. And then pricing is another important element. You want to value your time and your skill, but you also want to make your art accessible to a range of buyers.
So it's about finding that sweet spot. That's a win-win for both you and the buyer.
Exactly. And remember, every interaction is an opportunity, even if it doesn't result in an immediate sale.
What do you mean by that?
Someone might love your work, but they just simply can't afford it that day. But maybe they'll come back later, or they'll tell their friends about you, or they'll follow you on social media.
So it's about building those relationships
Mm-hmm.
and planting seeds for future opportunities.
Precisely. And those opportunities can grow exponentially if you combine your street art sales with a strong online presence.
Ah, the power of the internet. Can't underestimate that.
Not at all. Having a website or an online shop where people can view and purchase your art is essential.
Right, so if someone sees your work on the street, they love it, but they're not ready to buy right then and there. They can easily find you online later.
Exactly. And use social media to your advantage. Share your story, your creative process, behind the scenes glimpses of your street art setup. Announce upcoming sales events.
Social media is such a powerful tool for that, connecting with art lovers, building a following, and it's free marketing.
You got it. It's all about creating a multifaceted experience for your audience, both online and offline.
Okay, so we've talked about weather, legalities,
Mhm.
salesmanship, the power of the internet. Is there anything else that artists should be aware of when selling their art on the streets?
Well, security is another important consideration. Unfortunately, theft is a reality, so it's wise to invest in some basic security measures for your setup.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't really thought about that either.
It's always better to be prepared. Think about things like cable locks for your artwork, maybe having a friend help you watch over your display, even investing in a portable security camera.
Those are all great tips. And of course, it's always a good idea to have insurance for your art just in case.
Absolutely. It's about protecting your investment and minimizing the risk.
So we've covered a lot of ground here today. Finding the right location, mastering the art of street salesmanship, navigating the legalities, protecting your art, leveraging the power of the internet. Sounds like street art sales can be a challenging, yet incredibly rewarding way to sell your art and build your creative business.
Yeah, that's a great summary. It's not always easy, But it's a vibrant, dynamic,
Mm.
and fulfilling path for artists who are willing to put themselves out there and connect with their audience in a really personal way.
Sounds like you really need to have like a passion for this kind of art selling.
You do. It's not just about setting up a booth and waiting for people to come to you. It's about creating a connection, sharing your artistic vision and building a community around your work.
So for those artists who are ready to take that leap, embrace the street art scene. What's one piece of advice you would give them?
I would say do your research, understand the legal landscape in your city, secure the necessary permits and be prepared for the challenges that come with selling art on the street. But most importantly, don't be afraid to put yourself out there, experiment, and let your creativity shine.
It's a blend of practicality and passion.
Mm.
Be prepared, but stay true to that artistic spirit.
Exactly. And for a truly comprehensive guide to navigating the world of street art sales, I highly recommend checking out the article, Selling Art on the Street, What Every Artist Needs to Know, on marketyourart.net.
Awesome. And you can find the link to that article in the episode description. Well, that's a wrap on our exploration of street art sales. It's a vibrant, challenging, and ultimately rewarding way to share your art with the world and build a business on your own terms.
Remember, the street is your gallery. The city is your canvas.
Beautifully said. Until next time, keep creating and keep inspiring.